Hello and welcome to Movie of the Year, the only podcast with the Charizard and the Bulbasaur to rank the best movie for any given year. And guys, we might be talking about the best movie for any given year tonight. First, I want to welcome to the show Unnatural 20s, Caitlin and Cassie. Hello, how are you guys?
Hey!
Hey, Greg. We're good.
Thank you so much for coming out. Is it okay with you guys that we're talking about the Pokemon?
I'm here ready to take them all, catch them all, and just talk about all things Pokemon.
And there's like 30, 40 of these bad boys, right? So catching them all is a big task.
Oh, Greg. There's 151 in the original Gen 1.
Up at this point now, there's like 500, right?
There's a lot. There's 800.
It's 800, yeah.
Man, that's a lot of Mons. Ryan, you kind of piped in there before.
I'm sorry. Usually I come in right away and get to start talking.
Well, you are my best friend, if I remember correctly, so.
I appreciate that, yeah.
You scored 46 points last time, actually.
I did, yeah. I set the record.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, Pokemon are pocket monsters.
Yes, they are.
Apparently in Japan, they have very big pockets that can carry something that's like bigger than a Doberman in their pocket. Let's go around and let's all talk about our connection to Pokemon. So, Ryan, I gather you have, besides this movie, which I'm assuming you love, you have no connection to Pokemon.
When I was a child, I worked in a Blockbuster Video.
Yeah.
And we rented Game Boy games. And these two games came
what
out.
You're old as shit, my friend.
I thought, like, with Caitlin and Cassie on the show, I'm just going to get in front of it, you know?
Punch card computers.
And everyone kept renting these games. And then there was, like, a cartoon show that I believe was called Dragon Ball Z. And then movies came out, and I have no idea. Are they Tamagotchi? We don't know.
We're not for sure. They're not Digimon.
Okay.
I know that, but I'm not sure about the Tamagotchi, to be perfectly honest.
Are Digimon to Pokemon the same thing as, like the Power Rangers had, like, these other knockoffs? Is that just a knockoff bullshit
And
thing?
there were GoBots, right? The knockoff Transformers.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a robot, but if I lie down, I'm a perpendicular robot. So, Ryan, I'm hearing nothing from you.
This movie was weird to watch, I will say, yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
As somebody who thinks that they have, like, the pulse on at least all mainstream media, and then to sit down and watch this movie that made $150 million in the theaters, I was confused.
Well, we will hopefully get into why this movie... That's underperforming, right? $150 million.
Yeah, I think that it wasn't as much. I mean, it's a hit, but it was, like, number 17 of the year.
Yeah.
It was not Marvel, so why release it?
Unnatty 20s. Do you mind if I call you that?
Oh, please do.
Honestly, I don't like it, so I'm not going to anymore, but I'm glad it doesn't bother you.
So can I take it? Because I adore it.
What are your individual or group connections to Pokemon?
So I grew up with Gen 1. I know Gen 1 very well because that was my shit. That was the time when it was big when I was growing up. And at this time, like, all the kids, like, all we did in daycare was, like, play the Pokemon game. We had, like, we all brought our binders of Pokemon cards to school and, like, made trades and shit. Like, I was out there making the best deals. I got a holographic Charizard off a kid. I trade him a Tangela for it. So
Whoa.
Fucking fool.
Now, is that how you say that? Tangela?
Yeah.
No,
I always thought it was...
Tangela, you ass!
Tangela.
I always thought it was Tangela. And every time I hear I think, Tangela?
I'm going to lose my goddamn mind.
Yeah, just so you know, Caitlin said, Cassie, you go first, so then Caitlin can make fun of all the things Cassie got wrong.
She's waiting.
Gen 1 Pokemon, that's like red, yellow? Is that what that is?
It's the first original 151 Pokemon.
Okay, and is that game just Pokemon, or is that Pokemon Red and Pokemon Yellow?
Red and blue.
Red, blue, yellow, and green.
Oh, okay.
Because no one played
The
green.
4 colors of poop.
I got all of them.
Caitlin, let's get into it.
I had two brothers. We all had one of the Pokemon games on the Game Boy Color. So we had red, blue, green, and then we also got yellow. I stayed in Pokemon a little bit too long, I think. I watched the TV show, and we had binders of the cards. So
how many seasons of the TV show, if you had to guess?
God, I have no idea. We never watched them like in order. It was always just whatever was on the Saturday morning cartoons.
And is every episode like a different Pokemon is featured?
It's more of Ash's traveling around. Ash, the main Pokemon trainer. He's
Ash Ketchum?
Ash Ketchum. He's traveling around. He's a 10-year-old boy, and he just got to go catch these Pokemon. And he may run into a quest, and he may be told to do something.
And he's a 10-year-old boy out on his own.
Yes.
Right?
Where are his parents?
His mom just said it's time to go. Here's Professor Oak.
It's time to go. Here's another adult that we're not related to. You go with him now.
This is Professor Oak. He's going to give you a Pokemon, and that Pokemon's going to be your best friend and help you out through life. And that's how it goes.
Is it a puberty story? Like, because he was thrown out of his house before his balls dropped, now he's dropping balls behind every monster he can find?
Very good.
Is that what we're doing here?
Very good question, Ryan, although I doubt highly that's what it is.
Probably not.
10 is a little young to be going through puberty. Well, my connection with Pokemon is I was into video games during the time when Pokemon first started. I mean, I can remember when it was more often called Pocket Monsters, and I got it confused with...
Before portmanteaus existed.
Yeah, and I got it confused with a toy from my youth called Monster in My Pocket. And Monster in My Pocket is very cool. I think Pokemon has had a lot to do with the erasure of Monster in My Pocket.
Absolutely.
And I'm against that. Monster in My Pocket was like these little rubber monsters you would get. And you'd get like Wolfman, Frankenstein's monster, maybe the Blue Lagoon guy.
Like like a mummy or Frankenstein's did you say?
I said Frankenstein's monster.
But there was like a lot of options.
Or you could get the Wolfman.
Right, and there's the Wolfman.
Maybe.
So nothing original. Like how all the Pokemon are original and unique.
I'm sure there was like a Chupacabra.
Oh, dang, they got
right?
But no, as opposed to Pokemon, which is so original, let's call this deer-looking thing Deary. Yeah, no,
Listen,
great.
when you make 800 of them, they're not all going to be home runs, okay?
And also, they have like their Japanese names, and then we have to come up with a completely different name, because sometimes they're Japanese names that are very clever in Japanese, and then just doesn't translate.
It can't translate, so you
at
can't hold
all.
that against it.
But, so I never played any of these games, except for Pokemon Go.
Oh.
Which I am...
Which, did we all play Pokemon Go? Or did Ryan?
I mean, come on. I use my phone for texting hot girls, so I did not play that. But you guys bring up cards.
Yes.
So when I had cards as a kid, you didn't look at them, because that might ruin their mint condition. Are these the kind of cards that like you shuffle and play with?
You fucking play a game with these cards.
Yeah.
You are dueling with these shits.
Yes.
Like, but if you get a good one, do you have to keep it mint?
Yeah, you can get little card sleeves and card covers.
And sometimes you'll have a proxy in there, Ryan. So you'll like have your, I don't know, I'm assuming Charizard, because I think he's the coolest. You'd have that off to the side, like in like plastic, an inch thick. And then inside your deck, you'd have like one of your crappy cards. Like, what's a crappy one? Rattata.
Oddish.
Yeah.
Right? That guy's a literal rat. It's not even a Pokemon. It's just a
rat.
picture of a rat.
With
all the powers of a rat.
Of a rat, yeah. And then you would write on that, like, Charizard.
Could you take like 25 Magic cards and Pokemon cards, shuffle them up, and then play against somebody?
If that somebody is a stupid little child, I'm sure you could. As long as you just keep going like, you won again.
Before you do that, do you have to ask if they're a cop? And if you are, you have to tell me so you don't get busted.
I was playing Pokemon Go at my job recently, and a younger coworker, younger like the Unnatural 20s, walked up to me and she's like, "Oh, Pokemon Go, huh?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah," kind of embarrassed that I got caught playing it. And she's like, "How long have you played that game?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's embarrassing, but I played like for 3 years." And she's like, "Oh, what do you got?" And so I pull out my phone, and I'm like, she's like, "You got any legendaries?" And I'm like, "Well, I got this Kyogre, and it's pretty cool." And I did not realize it, but she had also pulled out her phone. And she started flipping through her Pokemon collection. And she came on like she did not even know what Pokemon Go was. And she had like pages and pages of legendary Pokemon, many of them shiny. And she let me talk for 2 minutes about my collection. And then, you guys, I'm not fucking around. She had 61 rare candies.
What?
She had sitting in her inventory 61 rare candies.
Oh, this bitch. That was a real Caitlyn move, just waiting for you to shit all over you.
She was like, "I haven't even played in a few months." I'm like, "Oh my God, this is so fucked up."
My favorite type of embarrassing situation is when you think it's going to be embarrassing for this reason, but it's actually the exact opposite reason.
And that's exactly what that story was. I was like, "Oh, well, I spent a little time playing it. It's like one of the only video games I play anymore." And she's like, "No, son, it's not that. It's not like that.
It's like your shit's weak.
It's that you got nothing. This is embarrassing to me. I'm embarrassed for you."
She pulls a fully lit cigar out of nowhere and just starts teaching you.
She's like, "A lot of these are lower tiers. What are you doing? You got to get your life together. Also, why do we have the same job? And I'm like 20 years old. And you're seriously, I'm guessing, conservatively, 67 years old." All right. Well, when we come back, I think, Ryan, all that makes sense is for us to launch directly into a conversation about the movie. Wouldn't you agree?
Monsters in my pocket.
Monsters in my pocket.
Yeah,
Wolfman.
Ryan.
Frankenstein's monster.
Trash.
Tangela. When we come back. So this is the part of the show where I normally read. You wouldn't believe I'm reading it because of how I perform it so well, Ryan, but I read a paragraph about the movie. But I forgot to write it, and so, Caitlin,
yes.
I'm just going to throw to you here. Could you give us, in brief,
yes.
a synopsis of this movie?
But of course, okay, so the movie Detective Pikachu, it opens with our main character, Tim Goodman, going and trying to find with his friend, just going out into a field. His friend tricks him in trying to bring him to a Cubone, which there must be something there because Cubone does not want to be caught, and
Cubone is not from Mario Brothers?
No.
Because he definitely seems like it.
No, he
That's
actually...
true. That seems like a Mario. Can you check to make sure if that's a Mario Brothers?
he's not a brother of the Mario.
He's the green one?
No,
that's Luigi.
Caitlin, I hate to interrupt. This is not what we do in the intros, but
mm-hmm.
this friend that he has, played by an actor that I really like, he's very funny. He's going to be very important in the rest of the movie, right?
Definitely,
pop up a lot of the time.
Definitely going to pop up a ton. His name is Jack. He doesn't have a last name, but that doesn't mean anything.
Catch him.
So...
Caught him.
So Jack and Tim are going out, and they go to catch this Cubone, and, it goes bad because he's like, oh, yeah, my name's Tim, and I just caught a Cubone. But no, that Pokeball doesn't click, and that Cubone comes to attack.
Ryan, sometimes the Pokeball doesn't quite click.
Yeah.
And you won't get it. And then sometimes the Pokemon will run away.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sorry, the monster doesn't gel with you immediately after you snuck up on it and trapped it like a slave?
Yeah, well, they're wild animals.
You can still connect with a wild animal and catch it. Like, that's a given.
Have you had a hamster? Anyways. So after this unsuccessful Pokemon attempt happens...
And Caitlin, it's not 2 minutes per scene.
Yeah.
Like the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, I got it. We're almost done with the movie.
Yeah, you're doing a good job.
Okay. So then Tim gets a call from the police, and they're like, oh my God, your dad is totally dead. And
oh, shit.
And Jack's like...
The police are played by Cher from Clueless.
And Jack, his friend's like, oh my God, man, I'm here for you. And Tim's like, I got to go to Rhyme City. Rhyme City is a place where Pokemon don't get caught. They just get to walk around like people, like you and me. And so he goes and takes a journey over there, gets licked by a Lickum, which was really unfortunate to watch.
Is that the most sexual of the Pokemon?
Oh,
Jinx.
God, no.
Jinx is the most sexual.
I don't want to reveal too much, but Mr. Mime is the most sexual of the Pokemon.
Okay, we're going to have to get into a substantive discussion about what the most sensual of the Pokemon
Rhyme
is.
City, more like Mime City, if you know what I'm talking about.
Speaking of Rhyme City, right when we get there, we get to see all the Pokemon walking around with people, doing people jobs like the Squirtle Squad, working with the firefighters. It's amazing. I absolutely love this part. And then we meet the detective who had called Tim and said, your daddy's dead. Go to his apartment, collect all his things. Your dad loved you. And he's like, no, daddy didn't love me. So he went to his apartment anyways. While collecting... Daddy's things, he hears something rifling throughout the apartment. And guess who it is? It's Detective Pikachu with a little hat on. And Tim finds this weird vial of some purple stuff, and he snorts it like a weirdo. And then some monkeys, they also snort it as well.
If you want to popcorn this at any point, let me know. Just say popcorn.
Anyways, Detective Pikachu can talk to Tim. They have to go save the day from this weird purple stuff that is just making Pokemon go wild.
It makes them super angry.
Them super angry. So then they also meet another character, which is a girl trainer, Lucy, and her Psyduck, who, if it gets mad, it will explode. And Lucy thinks there's more to the story and that his dad is not dead. And throughout the whole rest of the movie, you try to find out if the dad is dead or not. And
because we never know.
We never know.
It's impossible to tell.
We never know.
It's so mysterious.
And we find out Detective Pikachu is actually his dad's Pikachu.
No way, Jose!
Isn't that wild? In the very end, we're going to just skip to the end right now.
Honestly, the part you have described so far is the part of the movie that is enjoyable.
It's my favorite
I would say
part.
it actually holds together all the way up to this point, at which point something happens, and it doesn't matter what.
Yeah.
And it's like Pokemon comes in, the Pokemon plot points from the other Pokemon movies come in and absolutely swallow this thing like a snake. So that was a great recap.
But what it reminded me of is Greg, when we do comedies on movie of the year, we usually talk about how they only remember to be comedies for the first half or 30 minutes. And for this movie, it was the neo-noir thing.
Yeah.
It only remembered that this was a slick detective movie until where Caitlin got, and then something happened, guys. Like,
then a lot of stuff happened.
Let me ask you, how well do we think the filmmakers transport us to a world that has, to this point, been just fully animated?
I think they did a great job.
I definitely so going into Rhyme City, I feel like they honestly did a really cool job because it was great to see. What this movie did well is they understood like Pokemon and their traits and how to like put them in the city. Mm-hmm. So you definitely felt like coming into this world, like it is how you would imagine it be. Like they are just Pokemon wandering about, and like down to just how it is like filmed, like the colors of Rhyme City, you know instantly when you are in Rhyme City.
And this is the strongest point of the movie, walking through Rhyme City, right? It is a city that is, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but like these are real buildings from other cities, and they're all sort of put together. The most notable one being the Gherkin, that like pickle building from London. And the city has a very London feel all the way throughout, maybe because a lot of the actors are English.
Like sprinkling like maybe like Tokyo on London, right?
Yeah.
We have that like Blade Runner. I think it's cool that a lot of kids watching this movie will appreciate Blade Runner in like 15 years after they watch this, you know?
So this is like this is the strong point of the movie. And it does that neo-noir thing. And then like I would say 2/3 of the way through the movie, it feels like that all gets pushed to the side. And instead of like being the enjoyable, fun parts of Pokemon, it all becomes Mewtwo. That's how you say it, right? Do you say? Mewtwo. I always thought it was Mewtwo, but is it actually Mewtwo?
I'm hearing the same thing twice.
Okay. Well, it's like whether or not you put them together.
Oh.
So, like, I would think, okay, there's one called Mew.
Yes.
And then there's one called Mewtwo. But when they say it more as if it's like written
Mewtwo.
like Mutu. Mewtwo.
Yeah, just throw it into one.
Just put it into one. Okay,
Yeah.
Mewtwo.
The big battle of this movie is the official title is Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Like 3 words, no colons, no anything. And that's the battle is Pokemon versus Detective Pikachu. You know? And when Detective Pikachu is winning, that's when the movie shines.
Yeah.
When the Pokemon stuff takes over. And I'm not talking about this big franchise that I don't know anything about. I'm talking about endless, ceaseless CGI and fireworks. That's when it loses, when it goes away from the detective part.
Also, it feels to me like most of the big Pokemon stories center around this guy, Mewtwo.
Yeah.
And
because he's like, I mean, like he's like Superman to not just the rest of the DC universe, but like compared to Hawkeye, right?
Yeah, he's top of the pops, right? He's the strongest of all of them.
He's like he's made in a laboratory from the powers of Mew, which Mew is like the most powerful Pokemon,
and
he's Mew siphoned into one.
The first Mew is very cute.
So
very,
cute.
Very cute. This one's beefy boy.
And then they put thighs on it.
Yeah.
And that's Mewtwo.
Is this commentary though about how movies and franchises work, where like you thought you liked Mewtwo, the sequel to everything, is going to be so much bigger and badder and kind of dumber, you know, always dumber.
And is the thing about Mewtwo that like people are never sure whether he's good or bad or what his true intentions are?
He's a cat. He's bad.
Wait, whoa,
He's not
whoa!
cat.
No, if you're a cat, you're bad. You're evil and you think evil thoughts.
Whoa, hang on.
not a cat.
Are you trying to be his best friend?
I gotta give it. That is just. I know you're just trying to provoke me, but that's terrible. I can't believe you would do that.
That was a bad move, Ryan. But no, Greg, to get back to your question, is there's always a mystery around him because they make him mysterious because he was made in a lab. So once you bring in the human aspect of like, humans shouldn't be messing with Pokemon because they're just going to try to make them these powerful, like more monsters and take away from the Pokemon
Less
core.
pocket, more monster.
More monster. So that's why you don't know if this one is good or not. But then you get to see like more of the Pokemon background. Like there is still good in this Pokemon, and they are going to use their power for good.
Mewtwo straight up at one point goes, "Men are evil."
I'm sorry. Did I just say that?
He's like, "Men are evil, but sometimes they can do okay stuff, I guess."
There's like 1 or 2 that are okay, and I've met one of them. So
and they're named Goodman.
When I go into a movie like this, I don't really care about the intricacies of Mewtwo
No.
and good or bad. I just I want to be dropped into a world. And this word kept popping up as I was watching this, and it's wonder. And I know that the movie this is going to be most compared to is obviously Who Framed Roger Rabbit, right? Mm-hmm. Neo-noir, humans and non-humans living together. That movie had so much wonder because we just didn't know how it was working.
Yeah.
And then the other movie I thought of was Jurassic Park, which was like the beginning of CGI, and like now humans and dinosaurs are together, and like I believe this world. This was always sort of boring to me because, and I think it's just being used to CGI's fault. There was no sense of wonder. There was no sense of like, oh my God, look at this world I'm in. It felt like very rushed and slammed together, and also we're good at CGI, sort of. This isn't even the best CGI, and there was none of that time to like be like, look at this place. The only time that we had it was the Torterra.
The Torterra Garden.
that was a time where, like, oh my God, look at this world that we're in. And it was still kind of flubbed because it didn't look good and it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, I missed that time where we could just be like, I can't believe what I'm looking at right now. And this movie doesn't even attempt it.
This fucking breaks my heart. Everything you just said broke my fucking heart.
I completely disagree with all of everything you just said.
I felt a connection to it as soon as we entered Rhyme City, especially like once they go to that underground scene where they're in like that club. Like that's when you see these characters are connected to the scenes that they're in. And
okay,
is that based on like previous fandom? Like, I didn't know about the cartoon characters when I saw Roger Rabbit. I didn't know that there were dinosaurs when I saw Jurassic Park. Let's say that's true. But like, this should have given someone like me that wonder. I think you guys were going to have the wonder no matter what. They need to encapsulate me. Everyone always needs to like cater to me.
Did you see?
Didn't do it.
Did you see how cute these things are?
I know what
they did so good at making them cute and not making them. I feel like they fit really well into the city life.
Yeah,
like they didn't seem like they were forced. Like the Squirtles were forced to be firefighters, and they had to force that. It seemed like it
slavery.
worked. So,
do you think they had a union? Do you think they were getting good, like paid as well as the firemen?
They
in Rhyme
seemed
City,
happy.
yes.
at least getting snacks.
The only thing that approaches cute. The only Pokemon that approaches cute is Pikachu, and my God,
you don't even think
has
of
it in
Bulbasaur?
spades. And also, there was a big fat like cat sleeping in the middle of a street.
Snorlax?
Okay, that was pretty good.
Okay, yeah, Snorlax, very
But
good.
most of the Pokemon were like cucumbers wearing sombreros, barfing behind bars. Is that what cute is to you?
Yes.
Okay, that's later Jin. I don't stand by later Jin.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay.
Probably a little racist. I don't know if we're going to get into it.
When we're talking about, what's the first one? Charmeleon? Charmander, Bulbasaur, and what's the other one? Squirtle.
Yeah.
That's super cute. What's that called? Like kawaii? Like that's
Bulbasaur is the one with like a like an artichoke on his back.
Yes,
essentially.
Yeah.
That I just kept thinking about like what it would be like if I put my fist in it to me and to him. Like how would that would be disgusting?
Oh my God.
That's not cute, guys.
Oh man,
No, right.
that's really upsetting.
No.
That's surprisingly upsetting.
Yeah, it's gross. I don't want to think about that.
But now we all have to. When we come back, we're going to play a little game called Genre Switch. All right, we're going to play a little game called Genre Switch, Pokemon Edition, exclamation point.
Yellow. Sapphire.
Yeah, you have to buy a different genre switch to get the full story. Is that how it works, Caitlin? Like, you can't get all the Pokemon unless you have both games?
Some of the games, like the yellow version, you can only get Pikachu. It's the only one you can get Pikachu in.
Because he's yellow.
Yeah.
But then someone who had the yellow could trade Pikachu to you, maybe?
Yeah, so if you had green, red, or blue, then that's the only way you could get Pikachu.
Why?
That's kind of cool.
Why in the game Pokemon? Why are they trying to make me talk to people so much?
Yeah.
Like, the whole evolution of the game is like, leave your house, go interact. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to be depressed and anxious.
That's the whole point of video games. I thought that was like a Game Boy thing, but I looked up when I was doing heavy research for this episode, and that's still going on the Switch. On the Switch, they're still doing, you have to buy this $60 game or this $60
there's like
game.
the
Eevee and Pikachu.
Yeah, so you can only get Eevee or get Pikachu. That's a tough choice.
That's a very, very hard choice.
That's a tough choice. Those are good ones. Okay, so this is Genre Switch Pokemon Edition. So we're going to make our own version of something like Detective Pikachu, which is stars Pikachu and is neo-noir, right? We're going to pick a different genre of movie and a different Pokemon, Pocket Monster, and then make a new movie. Are you guys ready?
And this is sort of like how we keep the podcast funded, is Hollywood listens. They're like, oh, we're going to pay you for those ideas. So guys, don't fuck up here. Like, this is important.
I will be stepping out so that my character, Producer Greg, can come in. And Producer Greg, you will notice, has a hilarious voice. All right, listen. People, here's what I need. People are crazy about spy movies, and they're crazy about Raichu. Put these together. Make me a spy movie starring Raichu.
Well, first thing I'm going to get this right. The first thing you see in the trailer is he says, chew. Raichu. Right? Because that's what we get in spy movies.
Nice. I love it.
Great.
Other than that, guys, take it away.
Okay, so Raichu is the discounted version of Pikachu.
Discounted?
Yes.
Like the one you find at a swap meet?
Yes, this is the one. This is Pikachu's evolution that no one wants Pikachu to evolve into. So this is, I'm assuming, the sequel to Detective Pikachu. It's a spy movie where Raichu tries to find out how to become Pikachu again.
Oh, I see. Like, go back.
Yeah,
De-evolve.
he wants to go back.
Devolve.
Yes.
I love it.
And I would say that, like, whatever his base camp is, wants him dead. Like, wherever he thought that, like, this is how every Mission Impossible movie is like, hey, I'm going to send you out, but just kidding. We want to fucking kill you.
Professor Oak wants to murder.
So they're going after Raichu.
Raichu.
Is it 3 syllables?
I don't know.
Raichu.
Raichu.
Raichu? Because it's Raiden, right? So should it be Raichu?
Raichu.
Raichu.
Are you guys telling me to eat?
Guys, I had to run back in, and producer Greg had to leave for a second because nobody likes Raichu, right?
Yeah,
nobody likes Raichu.
Does evolving is the central thing of Pokemon?
Yes,
but does it kind of suck?
No. Well, it depends.
Was it there from the beginning, or did they add it in to like get more viewers?
From the beginning.
It's like kind of the seed of the original idea, right?
Yeah.
You can catch these creatures that get stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
But I have to like shout out that Detective Pikachu had none of it.
Yeah, no, it did have one. Magikarp evolved into Gyarados.
Yes, very true.
Which is the fucking best evolution.
Okay,
out of
and that's
all
when
of them.
fish went to bigger fish.
Yeah, that's the only one that's actually good, right? Because Magikarp is like a piece of crap that just sits there dying. It literally just flops on the ground dying.
It's like the weakest Pokemon, and
so it better fucking evolve, or
yeah,
or you have nothing.
It evolves into one of the most powerful,
like a water dragon or something.
Yeah, he's super cool.
Before he evolves, does he say, "Why don't you come with me, girl, on a Magikarp ride"?
No.
No. All right, I have come back in, and regular Greg has left. Everybody loves demon or demonic possession movies based on the occult. But
Classic genre.
I want to put one in with everybody's favorite Pokemon, a good evolution. I don't care what anybody says. This is a great evolution. Charizard.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I got it. Oh, for sure. Charizard is sitting there. This is the one that's in like the big battle against Pikachu, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, in the middle of the movie. He's sitting there, and he's totally fine, and he's thinking about happy thoughts, but his tail gets a demon inside of it, and then he has to battle that fucking tail.
Oh!
And the tail's like spinning around and like barfing fire and saying like, fuck me with your mother, or whatever demons say.
Oh, it's a gritty.
Yeah.
Gritty reboot.
You want to know what's even more wild about that? If you put out a Charizard's tail,
I noticed that, yeah.
they die. They can die. So
It's not just like
So he can't. He has to fight his own tail, but he can't put it out because if he
kill it.
because if he does, then he dies.
Which is just like The Exorcist, because the mom should have just like killed that daughter, right? Just fucking murder your own daughter. Problem solved. But you can't do that, so he has to sort of like fight the tail without killing the
He
tail.
must exercise his tail.
Yet another situation that Casey Anthony would see her way right out of. All right? It's not politically correct to say it.
Man,
But
I wish Greg was here. He's so much more politically correct.
I think we all know it's true. All right. I want to see a buddy cop movie where the cops are buddies, and I want one of the buddies to be Gengar.
Gengar,
that purple atrocity. First off, I know, obviously, because I'm greenlighting the project, but what's his whole deal?
he's like a dark Pokemon.
Oh.
So he's like kind of like a ghost.
Oh, no.
I thought you said goat.
The greatest
Dark
of
goat.
all time.
But he's a ghost?
He's like a ghost.
And his buddy cop is just a human?
Well, he could also be with like other Pokemon.
You know
like
what?
Weezing
Let's go crazy. It's Hollywood, baby. It's Hollywood. You can do whatever you want.
All right, so we have a dark ghost.
Yes.
And
He's like stubby, short legs too.
this is one I absolutely love. Farfetch'd.
Oh,
Describe for our live studio audience what Farfetch'd is.
That's a real word.
Farfetch is like a fucking cop and a bird mixed together is how I would explain it.
with a piece of celery.
With a piece of it's like an onion, dude.
I believe it's a leak. I believe it's a leak.
Well, that is an onion mixed with
Okay.
celery.
So if you look at Gengar, he's like a living furry star thing with weird dark eyes.
Yeah.
Farfetch'd is literally a bird with a leak.
So does he
That's
think
it.
that he's the dark cop until he meets this Gengar, and then he realizes how dark can be?
You know what? I just want there to be a line where Farfetch'd is leaving the car and he's like, "I'll be right back," and then he's like, "I got to take a leak." Right? Right,
Producer-
everybody?
Well, I'm so glad the producer came
I
in
think
on that
people
one.
are going to show up for that one, personally. I think people are going to want to see that.
Hey, on your way out, can you tell Greg that I said that, and then he's going to give me a point?
I want Farfetch to be like chewing on his leek and then like talking to like the person he's interviewing, like, and just pointing the leek at him every single time, like, I know you did it this time, you did it this way, but instead he's just saying far-fetched.
Are you sort of
Caitlin, you're doing that thing that I do sometimes? You're starting to talk like the people in the room, and that's offensive.
Oh man,
that's a little bit like Kojak,
Caitlin,
and I like it. We're doing it. We're green lighting it. We're gonna put the green light on that one. All right, guys. I think one thing we can all agree on is that Ditto is great.
Dude, I've got some shit to say about Ditto.
Ditto is wonderful. I want to see Ditto in a... Nope, not that one. I don't want to talk about that. All right, I want to see Ditto in a parody satire.
Wait, like a parody of Ditto?
A parody of satire.
A parody of satire?
Yeah, starring
so it's
Ditto.
just very serious.
Starring Ditto.
So it's just the whole, I just want to see a real movie. Like, it's supposed to be a super serious movie, but everyone's Ditto, so they have the really small Ditto eyes.
I don't want to fucking talk about this.
Everyone's Ditto. No, the movie's called Everyone's Ditto.
This is fucked up. Here's what we do. Ditto loses his powers, but everyone else in the world gets his powers. And he sees what a fucking creepy, disgusting piece of shit he is, because now everyone can do what he does.
I want a love story. I want a romance with
You
Ditto.
want a Ditto romance?
Because it's like, look me in the eyes, and it's just the beady little, little black dots.
Never.
Yes, I want it.
Wait, can we call this Ghost? Where Demi Moore says, I love you, and then Patrick Swayze plays Ditto, and he says Ditto? Is that what we're doing? Does Ditto mean I love you in Pokemonese?
No.
I like how even though Ditto was evil in this movie, still when he became Ditto, he went, Ditto! All right.
But that's the problem with all the evil creatures, right? Is that they're always just adorable.
They're so adorable. We love them.
Some of them say their names and like...
Caitlin.
Oh, their names.
It's Greg. I just came in.
Yeah.
Ryan, I owe you. Right. I owe you a point for that leak thing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was funny, dude. I'm
glad you got a chance to talk to that guy.
Yeah, we just real briefly. So Ditto, is he just becomes whoever he's fighting, right?
Yes.
But like, if you're a fire type Pokemon, aren't you strong against fire? So isn't Ditto always at sort of a Ditto vantage?
Because it sounds like disadvantage. I really like that one, Greg.
Ditto was done differently in this film than like other portrayals.
Oh, here we go. Film doesn't count.
No, but he was evil, and they said that they experimented on this Ditto, so that's why
he's different.
He's different. Like, he could be people.
Yeah,
so.
And as Mewtwo tells us, people are evil.
Well, I was texting Cassie while I was watching the movie, and she said that it depends a lot on who your owner is. Is that true?
Your partner, please.
Your partner,
please.
I'm sorry. We're in Rhyme City now?
Yeah.
We don't have owners.
It's different.
So, like, you can be trained to be good or bad, but what are the, like, the purple star-looking things? With I think there was a big balloon in the ending.
Gengar?
The Gengar. They just have evil eyes. There's no good Gengar, is there?
No, that's very hard to believe. He's a dark type.
They
Ryan.
look so mean.
Yeah, he's very bad. He looks like very mischievous as well.
There's like a couple of them. Yeah, that's what he does.
And Gengar.
There's like a couple of straight evil Pokemon. There's like wheezing and coughing. They're just straight like balls of like gas. Like
wheezing
that
and
gas.
coughing?
Oh yeah, they're just
So if you see somebody with cancer, you're like, oh, evil.
they're pollution, right?
Yes.
They got the corona.
Yeah.
What about that group of...
That's either very topical or very offensive at the time this episode releases.
Yeah.
Could go
It
either
might be
way.
5 years from now. What about the group of monkeys that chase out Pikachu?
Oh,
and
Apoms?
Tim?
Is that what those
are? They
are?
always evil?
No.
that was the little.
They're supposed
That
to
was
be cute.
Agent R, right?
Agent
Yeah.
R. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That was Agent R.
The purple stuff.
I feel like they're all on drugs anyway, so who knows what's going on with them.
They're very slow. They're slow creatures. Well, you guys, before producer Greg left, he said that actually he's not going to make any of these movies. So I don't know what he told you, but I'm sorry. That guy is a little shady. Well, when we come back, we are going to spend a little time with just our Patreon listeners, probably doing very good segments that the average person wishes they could hear. But if you're average, you're nothing to us. No, just kidding. Thank you so much for listening to the show, obviously. I mean, if you even just listened, that's good. If you rated or reviewed, that would be better. If you do Patreon, you're a sucker. But here come your Patreon bits. Up next. This movie is not called Pokemon Go Find My Dad's Killer. It is called Detective Pikachu. Is Pikachu worthy of this? And how does Blake Lively's husband do at portraying this little fella?
I mean, Pikachu, I don't know if he is worthy of this. It should be, Pikachu gets a lot of, like, respect that he shouldn't. I don't know if this is the platform to really go for this, but Pikachu is a rather weak Pokemon.
Listen, I appreciate your saying it. Yeah, somebody had to.
I mean, he's rather weak on the spectrum, but he is, like, he could, maybe he realized he needed a change, so he went to detective. He did solve some crimes, so I'll give him that.
Does Ryan Reynolds, does that guy, does he wear that Deerstalker hat? Where's the hat come from?
Oh, that came from, it was like, it had his name written in it, so like that was a big...
But it's also very small.
So
he had a tiny little hat that he put, was it Tim Goodman's hat?
Tim Goodman.
As a kid?
Oh, okay, I see. It was the kid's hat. But
that would be adorable.
At any rate, the Pikachu wears it. But I feel like, why is Pikachu the center of everything? Is he the cutest of the Pokemon? Is that what it is?
Yeah, let's get to the center of this real quick, because I looked up a bunch of like most popular Pokemon lists.
Okay.
And Pikachu was never to be found. Even though if you put everybody at gunpoint and said, name one, it's what most people would say, right?
Yeah.
So, did he get famous for no reason? Or is this like a bunch of clapback where like, no, he went too famous and now we fucking hate him?
I think it was definitely like aimed at the people who watched the original series, like, and watched that, because Pikachu was Ash's first Pokemon. Like, he was supposed to get one of these original 3 starter
Never
Pokemon.
Forget your first.
And then Pikachu was there because that's the only Pokemon that they had left. So,
so he's supposed to be a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's supposed to be. He started out as like,
but
you
I gotta
just
say,
get
like,
this.
based on watching all of the characters in this movie, he does have the most, and aside from Ryan Reynolds' voice, leading man qualities. Like, most of them are disgusting to look at and have bad personality traits.
Well,
Pikachu is adorable, and you want to just fucking scratch him, and so he purrs.
Maybe we should have talked about this earlier, but so they went for like the photorealistic CGI of them.
Yes.
Was that a mistake? You brought up Who Framed Roger Rabbit earlier. Should they have all been cartoons? Would they have looked cuter and better and cooler if they were cartoons?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't have enough animated.
It's yes. Yeah, well, they would.
But and so I don't know why I jumped in first. Ladies?
Greg, I would have to agree. Yes.
What?
For sure.
You think if they were
I'm
animated?
going for points, Caitlin.
And you just got one.
I'm here to stay true to Pokemon, Cassie. I'm here
But
to
at that
honor
point,
them.
don't we have to worry about the fact that kids don't want hand-drawn 2D cell animation in a movie?
No.
Like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit would not do well just because it looks old. They had to CGI 3D them.
I feel like we're like kind of going back to the era of great 2D animation, but now that I'm saying that, is it all for just adults?
Would it have been better if it was humans and then people in like mascot suits?
Yes,
That's
that's
how
what
they
it
walked
is.
around.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Because guys, I think I could have played Snorlax in that suit. I could have done that.
I would have loved watching that as well. But I think the realistic, like, facial expressions that they put into this, and like the expressions that they gave each one of the Pokemon was perfect. And I don't think they could have done that with a 2D like.
Okay,
animation.
I like that. That's a
Perfect.
great answer.
Perfect's a big word. Perfect is a big word. But I will say that when
It's not that big, right? I know what that word
like 7
means.
letters or
I bet I can spell it.
when Pikachu, almost said Pokemon, I think that's a big problem.
Ryan, do you think it's funny when I say, "Hey, let me get a Pikachu"?
Because I show you my penis every time.
I say that to my wife a lot, and she doesn't care for it.
Does she just say Pikachu back in a baby voice?
She has stopped responding to just about everything.
I found a new apartment, and I am doing good. When Pikachu is scared or happy, those are the best moments of the movie, because they go on, like, I'm going to look up cute animals on the internet, and they fucking go to town on that animation.
The ears go down, like you can see all the motion. Like, he really does not have to talk at all for you to understand what's going on. But the fact that you do get Ryan Reynolds voicing him, I think is really fun, because I mean, Ryan Reynolds did a good job with the punchlines and the jokes and stuff, and I felt like that hit more towards the adult audience.
Good and job are big words. And I would like to talk about that, because Ryan Reynolds has sort of always been like mile a minute batting average.
Yeah.
And I think his batting average is low in this movie.
In this movie, it's very low.
There's a couple times where I was like, yeah, that wasn't bad. That was pretty good. But most of the time, he's just saying, like, his whole goal is like, if you don't like this line, there's going to be another one right after it, so you can just ignore it.
And I've always felt like his performances in Deadpool are, everyone overblows how good he is in those movies, but they are way better than his performance in this movie. And is it because they're going for, Ryan Reynolds is already like pretty broad comedy. Sometimes when Ryan Reynolds is trying jokes, I'm like, dude, you don't even know what comedy is. You don't even know how it works. And then other times I'm like, okay, wait, either this comedy is for children or it's for stupid people. And so maybe
But I got to say, though, that like when Pikachu or Ryan Reynolds is walking through a room and says, like, this is creepy, I'm nervous that you're going to turn me into a lampshade. I don't know if that's for children. Like,
yeah, right?
Like,
okay.
No.
So who is the fucking... It's not funny, and it's not for kids. And if kids were to understand that line, they'd be horrified.
And doesn't it
what
kind
the fuck are we doing here?
And doesn't it kind of ruin Pikachu, whose whole thing is, like, innocence? Like, could you imagine Mickey Mouse...
Based on what I read,
his
powers come from his rosy cheeks. Can you get more childish than that?
Well, I mean, it was the Papa trapped inside of Pikachu the whole time. So we're just getting an insight onto Tim's dad. And
yeah, this isn't the true Pikachu. You gotta separate.
You gotta
the
separate that.
But even though that it's a beat in the movie, and by the way, again, who is this movie for? Because that twist, as like even the way the movie is put together, it's so obvious that the twist is going to be that the guy's dad is the voice of Pikachu. And they just keep acting like they're finally gonna just admit that, and it goes all the way until the very end of the movie, and then
when it feels like the movie is over.
When it feels and Mewtwo basically looks right into the camera and goes like, "Okay, here's what's going on," and then they do basically they break down the scene again, and they show it to you to make sure you understand that Ryan Reynolds was inside that Pikachu all along.
Looking back on the movie, it felt like that Mewtwo was like this comedian that's too crazy for audiences, and that giant cane kept coming out and like pulling him out of the scene because you just wanted to say like, oh no, it's simple, guys. Here's how the story works. And they were like, no, don't do it yet. Let's keep them in suspense. But we all fucking know.
I think you guys found it because I was going to say I genuinely don't know who it was made for, but it's probably for stupid people. So
that's why I loved it.
I think that's why. I mean, $150 million is nothing to turn your nose up at, but I think that's why it wasn't more successful. Because if they had picked a lane, and that lane is obviously people that are like in the area of our age, since we're so much older than you, but like 25 to 35. Who loved the show as kids and were crazy about it, but now want a fresher take on it, that feels like the audience to go for. And instead, they thought, what if we could get every segment of every audience and make something like, maybe like the Lego movie?
But that always means that you got nobody.
Yeah.
And like going back to me again, because I want to talk more about me.
Bring it right back. You know what, in fact, Ryan?
Right. I thought that was going to say Cassie.
For being brave.
For the two of you, Caitlin and Cassie, you guys were going to like it no matter what because you get to see your favorite things. And Greg, I don't know if you're on that thing, but like for me, the goal should have been in part, in the back of your mind, let's get this person to then pick up a video game.
Yeah.
Like they had this opportunity for me to be like, this is a magical world. I really enjoyed being in it. I want more of this world. There's not a sequel coming. I'm going to pick up cards. I'm going to pick up video games.
Yeah.
And instead, they just hit all things at all times, and it doesn't work.
I think it's a tough experience to try to... The experience of liking the game is tough to put into a movie because liking the game, the entire game is a grind. It never stops being a grind. You're always looking for stronger things. You're always looking to improve them. You're always looking for more and like different types of items. And so that actually becomes what's so addictive about the game. And the rest is kind of just window dressing for that. I think that leaves you in a tough position when you try to make a movie out of like, I'm going to just go and keep catching Bulbasaurs until I have a shiny one.
See, I think the original movie, like in the 2000s, did this so well.
Yeah.
Where it was like, we're going to capture more audience. We're going to teach you all about Pokemon, do the origin story, and make you really feel for them, and then make you buy all this merchandise, the games, and everything. And I think they did that really good back then. And right now, they were just trying to target this movie towards those people now.
But the difference is, though,
those people have grown up from then, and they're just so dispersed now, I think. So.
But that movie was done in the style of animation that the cartoon was done, and not everyone was already watching that thing. This felt like it was set out to almost like ignore the people who were already in. They're already in.
Yeah.
This feels like it was set up to like everybody who's not in, look at the real ass movie that we made, and now you're going to be in too.
I think they came into it with a weird position because so us who grew up with it, who already had this movie that we love and adore, they didn't want to disappoint us. That's why it's set in the Detective Pikachu game and not like Red or Blue, because we have so much expectations. Like if you throw it in that world, we're going to judge the shit out of it. But if you throw it into Detective Pikachu, like do whatever you want in that one. Like this is an area to play with and grow. So they went for a middle ground here is what I think.
Okay, so
Cassie,
not to bring up another 2019 movie and not to fucking upset some of our panelists, but like Rise of Skywalker, fucking forget about those people, dude. Just tell the story that you want to tell, and if it's good, people will go to it. And if it's not, people be like, you know what? I don't fucking care about any of this shit.
I mean, you were already going to get so many people that want to see Rise of Skywalker. You don't have to pander to anybody. Just
why?
Make something good.
Is there anybody saying like, I didn't go see the movie on opening weekend, but I heard they pandered to me, a super fan, so I guess I'm going to go this second weekend.
Wait, the movie is sexist again? I'm there.
The rise of sexism, yeah.
Well, let's hear a funny Pokemon sound effect. Very relatable. When we come back, we are going to do something I like to call Pokemon. Let's Pokemon go to the polls. Pokemon edition. Here's what we're going to do, guys. Politics, right?
Oh, my God.
Can't get enough of them. Usually our podcast is a wonderful escape from politics, but not tonight. No, sir. We're going to jump right in.
I was listening to a fantasy lacrosse podcast the other day. And they only talked about politics for like 6 minutes. I was like, guys, what are we doing here?
Fantasy lacrosse so hot right now. So we're looking at all the Democratic candidates, the ones that are either still in the race or the ones that were so recently. And we're thinking, what are the Pokemon that best represent these candidates? And so we're going to go from the top and work our way down. And guys, first off, got to start with Diamond Joe Biden. Your next ? President of the United States of America, a country he probably can't find on a map.
I've never hope sowed and hope nodded at the same time so hard.
Isn't it crazy? Man, Biden making us feel all sorts of ways all at the same time. Guys, who in the Pokeverse would you say best represents the front runner for the Democratic ticket? I remind you, Joe Biden. Ryan, who do you got for Biden? First of all, I assume you voted for Joe Biden.
Of course I did.
This show will be the kind of show where we make people talk about who they voted for.
In every election I've ever voted in, I voted for Joe Biden. This most recent one, I saw Elizabeth Warren's name there. I scratched it out and wrote Joe Biden and then wrote Joe Biden above it. 2 Joe Bidens. But for this one, he has gotten some shit for not really knowing where to put his hands when he's talking to girls.
Sure. And not just women, Ryan. Literal girls.
Yep, sometimes they're very young.
Thank heaven for literal girls.
So I think that he is the most powerful of them all, Mewtwo, because hashtag Mewtwo is coming all about this guy.
Right.
Pretty hard to argue with that.
Well, Ryan, you said Joe Biden 2 times. I say Joe Biden 3 times because Joe Biden's my Weedle. He's a Weedle.
Does Weedle say things 3 times?
No, Joe Biden. My wiener is something that I like to say, but he's a Weedle.
Also, because you did that, Joe Biden just appeared in the corner of the studio. So thanks for that.
He's wandering around.
Now I'm getting a massage.
Joe,
God damn it.
Put your hands down. Oh, he's sniffing you, Ryan.
But
he's sniffing you so good.
Weedle's a little worm of a Pokemon, and he has a little sharp thing on his head.
And what does he turn into?
I can't remember, honestly.
Like some sort of like butterfly thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he does. I think he's a Butterfree. No. He does not turn into a Butterfree.
So
Anyways,
like someone shows up to a fight and they're like, "Hey, I brought this worm."
I brought this
and then you're
worm.
like, "Worm sucks." It's like, "Wait a minute, hang on. Now it's a butterfly."
Hey, give him a couple months. Just you wait.
What did you bring? Oh, I brought like a god of thunder. Oh,
Cool. Here's my worm.
I can see.
I think he turned into a moth.
A moth.
Yeah.
That's even worse. I can't. In my house, got a lot of nits. Moths are going to have to go right out the door.
You just put a light out there. That's all you got to do.
Well, yeah, first of all, they're fucking morons.
Yeah.
They just love light. Second of all, it's like, oh, butterflies are pretty? Let's be the opposite. They're just gross, dirty assholes.
You ever get real close to a butterfly and suddenly you realize that like in between those beautiful wings is a bug? And
Yeah.
you're like, ugh.
Constantly. It's all I think about.
Get out of here, weird insect. It's like good from far, but far from good.
Nowhere
All
near
right?
me, please.
It's a butterfly, right? Everything's good. Butterfly.
You're my butterfly.
First
Sugar,
gross.
baby. But if we go back to Biden real quick, you guys.
Let's do it.
All right. You mentioned that he
We're
doesn't
just
know.
biding our time.
Yeah, great.
No, Ryan. No. That's a point for Caitlin and a point for Cassie.
Nice. You guys mentioned that he like doesn't know what to do with his hands, and this is why I actually went with a later gen Pokemon that I don't know a lot about, but I went with Slacking. And
Yeah,
Slacking,
dude, that's a good one.
yeah, he's just like this like Bigfoot little monster thing, and every time you look him up, he's laying on his side, and it looks like he's like rubbing his nipple. Like this is Joe Biden.
You know what he is? He's like he's the evolution of the sloth one.
Yeah.
And so
Totoro?
no, Ryan.
You get out of here
You
right now.
see your way right out of this conversation.
He's not like my neighbor Totoro.
This no. It's not like that. Well, actually, that is kind of like that. And then when he evolves, he just becomes like this really big, like voluptuous, and he just like hangs out and throws a rock. Like the only part of him that moves is one arm, and it like chucks mud at you.
Yeah, it chucks mud, or he'll grab food. That's all he does.
Joe Biden's gonna be slinging that mud.
I've decided that if you guys fucking like go at me about Pokemon again, I'm gonna start talking about Orson Welles' lesser known movies.
We're halfway through the show. Of course, we're gonna go after you.
No, this
again.
is it. Like we're gonna start talking about Magnificent Ambersons.
Okay, well, this part's not even gonna appear on the regular show, so non-Patreon listeners are gonna be confused as to why you're being up a little bit.
No,
all right.
They will know.
For my Biden, I chose Slowpoke. Okay. Slowpoke is clearly something happened to Slowpoke, and his brain is not working so well. If all the Pokemon didn't just only say their own name, Slowpoke still that is all he would say. It's just his own name. He's best friends with Psyduck, my favorite Pokemon. I love Psyduck because we both suffer from intense anxiety and really bad migraines.
And you got that beak.
And we got that beak, really, dude. You think you don't like your doctor? You should check out the size of my bill, y'all. But Slowpoke is stupid. I hope mostly he's harmless, but I wouldn't really want him to be president of the United States.
You can't trust him with anything.
Yeah, right?
No.
You wouldn't want vote for this guy.
Wait, this is a guy who's also only laying down.
He kind of just lies on his belly.
We got a real theme going on.
He evolves into Slow Bro, too, so he's still slow.
Slow Bro.
Yeah. Or he can also evolve into Slow King if you have the right kind of, I think if you have the Sun Rock or whatever. So
it's the third evolution.
And then it's just, he's just that guy with a crown. He is standing up, though.
So, he does stand.
Right now, Biden's our slow poke, but it could be not too long. He's our slow king. Everyone.
And you got to say about Biden, he does stand.
Every
once in a while, he stands up.
And I assume falls over. Next up is friend of the podcast, friend of the pod, Bernie Sanders.
All right. For Bernie Sanders, my boy Bernie, I had to go with Machoke. Why? Because Machoke me, daddy.
What the fuck?
Oh, you know what? There's a lot to unpack there, and I would like to not start doing it.
We're just going to keep going. So, for my Bernie.
What's nice about Machoke is he's got 4 arms, right?
That's when he evolves.
Oh, Machamp.
Machamp, yeah.
That's Machamp. Machamp me. No, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
that's what. I went.
I know less about Pokemon than I do about Caitlin.
Yeah.
Like, this is nuts right now.
Ryan is not going to be able to continue.
I can't even make eye contact with Caitlin right now. I actually went for the evolved version. I went for Machamp because, like, Bernie is just this buff. Like, this is his inner self, I feel like. It's a 4-arm buff dude ready to tackle the 1%.
Yeah,
and
dude.
he's just ready to take it all down.
Just ready to punch everybody in the noggin.
Yeah.
I like, all the Pokemon are basically fighters, but Machoke and Machamp, they're fighter-type Pokemon.
Yeah, they are.
Even though all Pokemon do is fight each other, these ones are specifically good at fighting, and their moves are like punch.
Yeah.
I love that. Just go out there, use Electric Shock Mind Attack. All right, use Chop to the throat.
Roundhouse kick.
Which I'm guessing Machoke does.
He does
do
have
a
chop.
lot of Chop in the throat, right? All right, Ryan, can you collect yourself and tell us who you think should be Bernie Sanders?
All right, I'm going to do one that doesn't give me a boner. But like, he's old and he cares about the planet. It's Torterra. Like, how is that not Bernie Sanders? Like, he moves slow. He he's putting the world on his back.
Nice.
I think this is perfect.
Very good. I like it.
Right.
For me, I'm feeling the burn. I'm going with Charizard. All right.
Yes.
Much like how if Charizard's light goes out, if the light of Bernie goes out, I'm afraid that we all might die. Everybody, right? But also Charizard's he's definitely like the crankiest of the Pokemon. Mm-hmm. He used to be like round and nice and full of life, but now he's just so old and big and stooped that he just yells everything that he says, which is in the case of Charizard, only Charizard.
That's not just a Bernie thing, though. I feel like we're all going through that a little bit.
Yeah, it's a dark time.
I'm getting more rounded and more upset.
It's a dark time, everybody. All right, well, we are basically out of time on this wonderful bit, so here's what we're going to do. Everybody, pick your favorite of the candidate and Pokemon mix that you have, and we're just going to go around round robin style, and people are going to tell me, like, of the people left. So who's left? I could see it being Warren or Mayor Pete or Klobuchar or Bloomberg. Who's your favorite politician Pokemon combo left?
Can I just go real quick with my top 4? Warren I would never do because I cannot insult her. Mayor Pete is Eevee because like he's kind of cute but like probably a piece of shit. Like Eevee looks like a fucking punk asshole.
Okay.
Klobuchar is Charizard. Why would that not be the case?
Of course. I'm sorry.
And then Bloomberg is Ditto because he's a fucking human being with cold dead eyes that freaks the fuck out of me.
Okay, I did ditto for Mayor Pete because I just feel like he transforms into whatever he needs to be at that moment. Like
I did ditto too for the same fucking reason.
Yeah.
Because rather than just be himself, he clearly saw Obama one time and he
Ditto's
was like, ditto,
Obama, yeah.
and he just turned into Obama.
He was like, I could do that. That's for sure.
I could do that all the way to the White House.
Do you guys think we can make hashtag Mayor Ditto Obama play even though he dropped out of the race?
Yeah, dude. I think
let's hook that up.
Right up.
I heard it and it sounded like it could really sell for sure. But I actually took on Warren. I put Warren as Tentacool because she's super cool. But then when she put her on that platform and she could turn to Tentacruel with taking down those people.
Like when she escorts Mike Bloomberg right out of the race.
Him out of there.
You know what? Sorry about your half bill, buddy, but you're going to have to leave this race right now. Look, we'll go together.
She did the full-on grab the forearm, grab the elbow, and then just walk him right out of the building.
I hope that goes down in history as important as it really was.
Yeah.
She probably sacrificed herself to jump on that grenade. We can't have this idiot be the president. All right. Caitlin, without revealing too much about yourself or your proclivities, what one do you have that remains?
Okay, we have Klobuchar, who is the Pokemon The Unknown, which is a key player to the lore, but I have no idea what's going on there.
Because it's unknown.
Yeah, it's unknown.
Just like
Good name.
Just like Klobuchar, who seemed like she was definitely involved in something that was happening and may have had an outsized impact on it, but we really don't know what exactly that was.
Idea.
I don't know what her first name is, and I honestly don't know what her last name is.
Yeah, I'm not. You know, you could show me 3 different white women, and I wouldn't know which one it is. Well, actually, I would just hold up a picture of Mayor Pete, and whichever one freaks out, that's Klobuchar. All I have left that I want to share with you is, actually, my Klobuchar was Machamp because Klobuchar spent every debate just absolutely fist fighting Pete. She chose from an early debate. I don't like you, Pete, and I'm going to destroy you.
And how many arms does Machamp have?
He's the one with 4.
So that's 4 staplers rocketing at people's heads.
But my choice for Bloomberg. Thanks so much for coming out, Bloomberg. My favorite Pokemon name of all time that I say to myself like every day at least once: Stunky. There is a Pokemon
Wow, Greg, you woke up stunky today.
that is a skunk, and his name is a combination of stinky, stunk, and skunk, and so his name is Stunky. And man, as a candidate, Stunky. As a mayor, Stunky. As someone who spent $500 million to absolutely get pwned on stage by Elizabeth Warren and then completely booted out of the race, Mike Bloomberg, you, my friend, are Stunky.
I feel like you go up to anybody that was in a frat and be like, "Oh, who was your Stunky?" And they will know. Like every frat has a Stunky.
You guys, how pod saves was this bit? Wasn't this really?
No, we killed
honestly,
it, yeah.
Can we do this? Are we the Chapo Trap House now, dogs? When we come back, we're going to let in the rest of the ruffians and the hooligans, and we're going to have one more delicious taste bud question. We are back, and I ask you this. Are the filmmakers at all interested in social commentary? What are they, if anything, approaching? This, and here's why I ask. This could just be a movie about little funny creatures, right? But clearly, at some point, they were like, nope, we're going to make a movie that's about things. It's also going to happen to have Pokemon in it, but it will be about things. Did they pull that off?
The thing that hit the hardest for me, and this is probably because I saw Roger Rabbit, is that although it seems like we're all equal, we're not. And nobody actually thinks that. You know, like there's no way that these Pokemon who live in the same world as humans can get the same job that humans can. Mm-hmm. The co-detective, like the gruff bulldog, Snubble, who was the detective's partner, like he just sat there and did nothing, right? Like he might as well have had a cat in a cage.
Yeah, I think he was kind of mean mugging a lot of times. Mm-hmm. I think like
he's the bad cop. They didn't really get to explore it, but he's definitely the bad cop.
Totally
in the situation.
Right. He growls and then you're like, oh, I don't know about this.
He's the intimidating one.
It seemed to me that they were almost approaching all the times, but either didn't have the wherewithal or the give a shittedness to say that, like, yes, no, there's always going to be an upper middle class. And then the fact that they then started pounding the lower class with drugs to get the upper class to do what the lower class wanted, like that seemed like almost something. They just didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the closest thing they got to would be like some type of like class struggle would be like the closest thing they probably touched on.
Okay,
the problem is that the Pokemon were happy the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a weird thing, right? This is not Parasite. This is Pokemon. So that would be the one message, right? The other one, though, would be like, this movie's attempting to do a lot of stuff with dads.
It's all about the dads. Really.
Yeah, dads that are there, right? Dads that are not there. Because there's the dad that's there too much. Bill Nye, like, he's evil.
Yeah.
So that's a bad dad right there.
That's bad dad.
It's almost like, what is the Christian Bale, Bruce Wayne thing of stay alive long enough and to watch, people will watch you become a villain?
Oh, yeah.
What is the
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain.
Right. Bill Nye didn't die. And so Chris Gere, the guy from You're the Worst, who only plays the villain in everything.
Shitty Jimmy?
Yeah, Shitty Jimmy. And that, like, he was cast clearly because we're supposed to think he's the villain. Like,
Yeah.
that was a...
Because you just look at his face and you're like, that's a bad guy.
His fucking blonde hair. And he's the bad guy. But no, his dad didn't die. And so he had to watch his dad become a villain.
Yeah.
And that sort of, like, made him do all the things. I thought that was much more effective than... Oh, by the way, Ryan Reynolds, Pikachu, and here we go right at the end.
And then it's like, for a second, they're like, wait, maybe these guys aren't going to have a relationship. And then the kid has to be like, no, let's have a relationship.
Because Ryan Reynolds is like, all right, bye.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue to not have a relationship with you.
Hasta la pasta. I got to say, I'm crushing it here. So I don't really need you to hang around. And the kid's like, please parent me. And he's like, all right,
I
fine.
guess. That was a weird moment because as he was Pikachu, they straight up had a moment where he was like, man, I wish I would have took that ticket back then. Like, I regret this. And then the moment is right there. And it was just like, what are you guys doing? Like, are you going to let this happen?
I think the bigger misdirect than the two British guys, which one's going to be the villain and which one's the hero, is you're thinking the whole time, like, I have this figured out. But there's no way that Ryan Reynolds is old enough to be this person's dad. And then at the end, they grade up his temples a little bit, and they give him, like, glasses. Like, oh, okay, I guess this makes sense.
I like how he's a detective, but he wears, like, skinny jeans and a scarf.
He's the hip dad. He rolls his jeans a bit. They're a little
It's
faded.
cuffing season.
Yeah. He's watched Queer Eye. He knows what's up.
So this movie is like, dads can be good, dads can be bad. But no matter what, dads.
Yeah. I mean, I think that what we should fight for is just to have dads affect our lives less. Like, what if we could just stand up and say, like, I don't care about my dad. I'm just going to be a normal person regardless of who they were. Sure, they're in prison and they put on clown makeup to kill a bunch of people.
Sure.
But I can be a normal person.
It's dad stuff.
It's like just normal dad stuff.
It's just how dads are. How hard was it to watch Bill Nye, like, say anything about Pokemon? I felt like, don't make him do this. It's like, well, Mewtwo is going to put my consciousness.
I did the thing because, like, he's a borderline pop filter Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I get excited when I see him, and I was like, oh, he's going to bring something to this. But instead, he was like, I will bring something, the check to the bank.
Yeah.
And I will fucking not give a shit about any of this.
Bill Nye could, like, probably point to one thing in his house that Detective Pikachu is responsible
rug right there?
for. Yeah, dude, that was Detective Pikachu right there. That's why it looks like Pikachu, because I killed and scared
lamp
Pikachu.
over there.
Was it a mistake to try to, like, have this movie to have any themes to be about anything?
No, I mean, like, eventually you're going to land on some theme. And I think that part was okay. Not the upper class versus lower class thing. I think the dad thing, they did okay.
Yeah.
It's all the stuff that we had to wade through in order to get there. Like, this movie learned the wrong lessons from Transformers about, like, oh, what do you got? Like a 80-page script? Fucking fill it with so much convoluted garbage that nobody knows what's going on. And we have to hang out with, like, humans and robots. And, like, this, I did not know what was going on, but I did know that it wasn't because I'm not a Pokemon fan. It was just because things weren't made clear. And then when they were nervous about that, they would have people, like, look at the camera and say plot points. Or the hackiest screenwriting thing I have ever seen in my entire life is for people to stand around and say, like, oh, here's a hologram. Let's watch this flashback. And then they just stood there and watched previous scenes.
This movie has a hackier thing than that. They are on the train going to Rhyme City, and they're like, all right, we're almost at Rhyme City, so we're going to put on this orientation video. And they put on a video, and then the camera just, like, locks onto this video, and they're like...
And then becomes, the movie is that video.
And they're like, okay, there's these things called Pokemon. Like, there's no way this video would exist in this world. They're like, everyone is bonded to one Pokemon, okay? Welcome to Rhyme City.
They do the same thing in Jurassic Park, but those people have never been, like, with the Sappy, the paperclip thing that dances around, but those people have never been to Jurassic Park.
Hey, I noticed you're making a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Do you want my help? Everyone's been to Rhyme City. We all know this. It was like, I will say that there was like 9 screenwriters, and that's all. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
But fuck, man.
Everybody had their own little thing they were taking into this.
I can say, you guys are saying, like, this video would never exist, but have you flown? We still have to watch how to, like, buckle up a fucking seatbelt.
Okay, but
so, like,
But the video is never like, and while you're in New York, don't forget, baseball is a game played by 2 teams of 9 individuals who
This would be like if you're sitting on a plane and there's like a strap that then like hits your head onto the screen and you have no choice but to watch it as hard as you can.
But I mean, they weren't really interested in this, like the video. It was more we were forced to watch it, but like everybody else was like, you know what? This is just part of it. This is how it goes.
Maybe I'm just jealous of them. And
also, after the video is when I texted you, Cassie. Like the video did also not do its job. I had to like sit there and watch the whole forced thing, and then also be like, what the fuck is like? Are these pets? Are these animals? Like, are there animals other than this? Like, I still didn't know what was going on.
Are there animals other than that?
Like, no, like I
you
told
don't see
Ryan,
like a horse,
it
right?
would be cruel for animals to exist in this world when there's such magical creatures. Like,
Yeah,
can you
so they
imagine
just
just a
don't.
bird flying around when there's one that could do like a lightning
When
strike
there's a
too?
fucking Pidgey.
You can't have that. That's cruel.
Did the Pokemon do something to the
They
animals?
killed all the animals, right?
I think they're just in place of the animals.
Like, but like when you're watching the original Pokemon cartoon, did you also have like birds that
No.
are normal birds flying in? So this is just it.
Everything is a Pokemon.
Pidgeys would just be flying through the air, pooping on people,
That's their power?
I don't know why, but I find that very unsettling.
I do too. It's like they did not evolve to take over humans, but they ruined all other like, fauna that existed.
That's not right.
I know.
There should be
There's even like plant ones. They take over the plants. It's all Pokemon, baby.
there should be more animals. But like there's like a normal ass tree. Like you'll see a tree.
Oh yeah,
right?
trees. Like there's tree type Pokemons, and then there's actual trees. Yes.
Okay. Because that would be even worse.
But there's not like bird-like birds and then bird-like Pokemon.
They're
They're all dead.
They're just
They're
bird-like
extinct.
Pokemon.
There's just like Farfetch'd with his leak.
With his
Yes.
leak. Because do you want any others?
Another problem I had it too is that like there's a lot of those monkey things that chase them out of the apartment.
Yeah.
And there's multiple Pikachus.
Yeah.
Like this is not the OG Pikachu.
No, yeah, okay, so like this is not the Pikachu from like every other adventure. Like Pikachu is a type.
Yes.
And this is not a like interdimensional, like we're in a Marvel sort
No,
of
there's
other
many
universe.
different because that's like a type of animal.
Okay, that's fine. But they call them all, they won't even name them then. They just call them all Pikachu.
It's like
Yeah.
saying,
So,
oh,
like,
cat,
it's-
dog.
Yeah, that's not how we do. Like, this is supposed to elevate pets
Bird.
almost
Yeah.
into like partners, but instead they just call everyone bird or dog.
Look
That's
at that
not cool.
bird. I'm not going to name that bird.
Just look at it.
It's
Well,
a
I guess
bird.
it's because like they're like, why do you name it if you're going to send it into fight to the
Yeah,
death?
if you're gonna force it to like fucking kill itself or something else.
You guys, it's cats rules here. Every Pokemon has their own name that they go by, and it's not our place to know that name. All right?
I'm with Cassie on this one. The cat's reference was very good.
But what was this Detective Pikachu's name then?
It's not. We can't know that, Ryan,
We can't know one name?
No,
One
right.
single name?
because there's power in a name, and we can't have that power.
I have noticed if you know something's true name, you control it. I have noticed in Pokemon Go, I can change the names of them, and I'm just like, no, why would I do that? Why?
That's
It's not always butt fart.
It's not always blood fart, trouser waffle. All right, when we come back, we are going to evolve this podcast. It is time to evolve the podcast. So each of us is going to evolve into a second and perhaps a third form, and everyone else is going to help decide what that would be like. So I'm the host. I'm going to go first. Guys, this is normal Greg. This is me at 1. What's Greg like at 2? What's my first evolution?
I'm going to say, first of all, right off the bat, pensiveness goes up, gorilla-ness goes up. The arms come out, the hairiness goes everywhere, and yet, like, his eyebrows are a little nervous right now.
Okay.
What's about to happen?
Okay. So sort of taking a cue from my Twitter handle,
At Pensive Gorilla, yeah.
I see myself okay, so like probably like maybe like Gorilla Grodd style. I'm like kind of like hunched over. I've got the big long arms now, and
Right.
the big forearms.
But, like, you have RPF, you have resting pensive face.
Uh-huh.
Now it's way more
Okay.
pensive. Like, you look worried.
I look worried. I look concerned about the state of affairs.
When you evolve, is there, like, pluses and minuses, or is it all pluses?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Ooh, I'm assuming just pluses.
I think you only get better.
Yeah.
You get less cute.
Well, to
Everyone's
me,
cute.
Unless you're
goes
Raichu. Fuck Raichu.
to me, having a more pensive face is better. So I'm going to say that's a plus.
And I imagine a lot of hair, right?
Oh, my
there's
God, so
gotta
much
be-
hair.
Gotta be a lot of hair.
See, I think Greg would be more of your first evolution would be something like a Sudowoodo. Are you familiar with that?
The tree one.
It's like a tree, but then its fingers are like little bushes.
Okay.
So you got all those big bushes all around you.
Okay.
You can kind of match into your surroundings, but also you got these nice little branches. So when it's wintertime, you are the bright thing in the winter.
But just so these ideas gel, those
Yeah.
bushes aren't like trees, but like pluffs of hair.
Gorillas.
Yes,
Bushes.
yes, exactly, exactly.
If like Greg, if I could put you into a Pokemon, I would say you would start as like a Railu, which
Okay.
is like he's the little baby. He's a baby fighting type Pokemon, and
That's
his
nice.
second form goes up from.
And you do fight babies.
You do fight babies,
And you know what? Most of the time, I win. Take that, babies.
and the only way you get to like evolve into your other one is by high levels of friendship, and that's how you evolve.
Whoa, whoa,
Yeah, so-
whoa.
Cassie.
Hang on. I am feeling those
Cassie.
high levels of friendship. I might evolve right now. I imagine when it's time to evolve, you go to a private space, right? Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
get to,
Yeah, that's
you
a-
get
that's
to
a
do that
personal-
Go out to
alone.
the meadow.
Yeah, don't evolve right here, bro.
Because you're going to make weird noises, I
Yeah.
imagine.
And I always imagine, do you think it's like painful at all?
To evolve?
Yeah. Because like whenever someone becomes Wolfman,
Based on werewolf
They
movies,
scream.
it fucking sucks.
yeah, like your bones break and
Yeah.
reform and everything.
It seems like a magical thing where you just kind of turn to goop for like a half second and then you reform.
There's like a bright flash of light, and then you're just standing there as something
Is it
different.
closer to Transformers where like you tuck and roll?
Yeah.
We have different voices or noises for Transformers.
Wee, wee. Mine is a foghorn.
I imagine it's very magical and it's kind of tingly for the Pokemon to evolve.
By the way, my second level Greg was called Greg.
Nice.
And third level is Greg.
Uh-huh.
And this is when you think that you're able to get as many people to follow you as possible, and no one does.
Oh.
That's your third evolution. It's just that there's nobody behind you.
Oh, I thought you meant on Twitter.
I'm doing a Twitter theme. Here.
Oh, okay. So nobody follows me. That's very hurtful, but I'll give you a point. That's very upsetting to me, but I will still give you a point. All right. Well,
Follow at Pensive Gorilla on Twitter, please.
Follow.
that's me out of the barrel. Up next, let's do Ryan.
Fuck.
So, what do we think would be Ryan's first?
Well, I think it would definitely be a fire type Pokemon.
Okay,
right there.
that makes sense.
Right
The blazing color of my pubic hair.
Okay, what if he's like Gingar?
Gingar, there
Yeah,
we go.
he's like a big reddish orange star.
He's like a dark Pokemon, but he's also red.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay, I like that. Has the beady black eyes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
No, that's not fucking cool, guys. That's disgusting.
We gotta throw in a mix of like Jigglypuff or something though, because it's just like Jigglypuff just singing karaoke by himself, like
Okay.
in a little bar.
I like this. The
Yeah.
Gingar Puff. I like
Yeah.
that.
I thought you were talking about my tummy. So
Oh, I would never.
That's
No.
my nickname for my tummy is Jigglypuff. So.
That's too mean.
It's okay. One day you can evolve into Wigglytuff.
Wigglytuff.
Yeah.
Which is fatter but stronger.
No, you're tough.
It's a swole ass
You're just
version.
swole.
And then Jigglytuff. That's it. Just the one evolution.
Mm-hmm.
He just goes from one to the other. And Pikachu is the same way. Pikachu,
Raichu. Yep.
Why?
Yeah, why
do
is
they
that?
do that?
What-
Why is it just one?
I mean,
evolution?
they have like some, like, I'm sure like Gen 3, Gen 4 has like some evolution for Jigglypuff. But
Okay,
those
so
little-
sometimes
yeah.
later games have
Yeah,
an
they're like,
evolution.
oh, now there's more.
But when I was looking at the 151,
Yeah.
the OG, some would have 2 and some would have 3.
Yeah.
And it's just like on their second level,
That's
did
just
they
how it
reach
is.
perfection?
Sometimes you just do.
Sometimes
Just takes one.
Sometimes it's like the lower level Pokemon. They don't evolve farther.
I think a lot of the plots of the games are them like investigating the evolution process, right? Like why it's happening and like how something affects it.
Like ascribing science to it?
Yeah, well, Professor Oak, he's a scientist, right?
He's a scientist, but he just gives you a Pokemon, really.
He
That's
doesn't
his only
help that
job
much.
in the
He
game.
Oh, he's not like investigating stuff.
My favorite kind of doctor is like, I don't know, man. Here's a prize.
Here's a fucking-
Just get out of my office.
Here's a semi-sentient bird. Just go have adventures or something.
Go catch more, okay?
By the way, it'll kill your enemies. So Ryan is striking me as that type that only has one evolution.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I think this is almost as good as it gets for you.
I gotta say, not an insult because most people thought I had 0. So I will take it.
Let's turn our attention to Caitlin. What kind of Pokemon would Caitlin be?
Okay. You guys, Caitlin is straight up like she is Magikarp because she is straight up just like a fish out of water just flopping around when you first meet her.
The
like,
one earlier that we all agreed was the most useless of all the
the
Pokemon.
most useless.
That's
Like
me.
you don't know what to do with
That
this
feels
one.
pretty shady. I like that.
And if you've never met Caitlin, I will tell you that there is no way that you can get her to stop flopping around.
Yeah.
She will just always be doing it.
Flopping
She-
around. You don't know why she's there at the moment.
If Caitlin sits for too long, even though she's sitting there and she's like kind of shaking the entire time, she will actually stand up, walk over over to a wall and do a handstand.
Yeah. Yes.
And then maybe do a back bend and then come and sit down again like nothing happened.
Or the only way to get her to flopping is for when she realizes nobody's looking, and then she walks over to where more people are. Was there a Pokemon joke in this movie where they talk shit on Magikarp?
Yes.
Like, did they say like this is the most bullshit thing?
He does, yeah.
Yes.
Because Tim Goodman, right?
Yeah.
Breaks him out, and then it breaks out Magikarp. So he's like, this is going to help us out, and then doesn't. Ryan Reynolds, he's like, that's the most useless of all the Pokemon.
Yes, and then he's like, but when he evolves into a Gyarados. And he's like, I just need him to flop it more. So he flops and evolves into Gyarados and saves the day.
Yeah.
The thing that I have for Caitlin is while she's next level fish, right?
Yeah.
Second level fish is that she spins around a lot, and anything that is candy in the room gets sucked into her gut, and that is what makes her explode.
She gets the
If
candy
there's
powers.
anything sweet, she will just like explode over everyone.
Or like a bag of like room temperature pasta.
Yeah.
With no sauce. Just sitting in her lap.
My favorite.
Out of a Ziploc.
Yes.
All right, how about Cassie?
None of these things have backstories, by the way. This is all stuff that we just like made up on the spot.
Totally.
I like how a lot of these jokes are contingent on your listening to 2 different podcasts like 2 years ago.
That's how a Marvel crossover should work.
Here's a bunch of references you won't get.
All right, so for Cassie, I had like when she starts to evolve, and I don't think she can. I think that she is already perfect, but her eyes.
All right, that's got to be a point.
That was nice.
Her eyes can't focus forward. They just like start to drift off, and they are now looking in 2 different spots because of her spirit animal, and then she just becomes her dog. Who that third evolution is just she's just her dog running around with eyes that are fucking bonkers.
Oh, okay.
What is your dog's Instagram?
Murdoch the pup. You can follow him on Instagram. He officially has 100 followers, and we're hoping to get 102 by the end of today.
Hey, don't pass up your pop filter on this shit.
So Cassie, I think you're right, Ryan. She doesn't have any evolutions because she's already perfect. So that's
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
She's going to be Lugia, which is a very powerful Pokemon and is like the
Mario Gia's brother.
he
Loved it.
he's also like a psychic Pokemon, and so he can talk to anyone and anything. So you can.
But wait. He can talk to any, he can say
like
his own name to anyone or anything?
No, he says fucking words.
Oh, he's a chatty.
Yeah, yeah. So he can get in your brain, talk to you, tell you what he wants to say, and you have to play like a flute to make him happy. And I feel like that's very Cassie.
Oh, man.
I am only
Is
pleased
there
by the
anything
flute.
more important than playing a flute to make Cassie happy?
That's why you guys, right before we record, you guys have to, each of you do a flute performance.
We don't even have the time. We had to hire some like flautist to come on in the studio and do this for you.
We just show that scene from Anchorman.
Yeah.
The other thing too,
Aqualung.
when Cassie evolves, and I don't want to take anything away from you, Greg, because I know your favorite is Psyduck.
Please. Yeah, oh yeah. I'm on the record. I am a Psyduck fan.
I think the difference with Cassie is that she sees all the stress that she's having, and she understands how she's making everything stressful, but there's no explosion. And that scares the shit out of me. What is going to happen?
Where does it go? Where is it all
Just
going?
you wait, you guys.
Cassie. All right. Well, guys, guess what time it is?
Speed round.
If you guessed speed round,
Speed
you
round.
are right.
Ryan, speed round.
Has any movie ever contained less necessary exposition?
Oh, man, yeah, like...
There are a lot of times. There are like 3 different scenes where the only reason they exist is for someone to look into the camera and be like, "This is what Pokemon are."
I do think Chinatown fucked up Roger Rabbit, which fucked up Detective Pikachu. It doesn't have to be like this overarching, we have to go down into the belly of the city to figure out this crime. Just do something simple and small so everyone understands.
Yeah. Do you have to have a really complicated plot to do noir?
And like, what are kids thinking? Like, I guess
They're
if it's
loving
simple or big or like complicated, kids just they don't care at all.
If you really remember the movies you watched when you were a kid, I think you'll find unless you've seen them recently that you don't really remember what happens in them. Yeah. Because when a kid watches a movie, you just watch the big set pieces and
You wait for somebody to get kicked in the balls.
And you're playing action figures.
You're looking at all the Pokemon that are coming on screen as a kid, and you don't really care what happens as long as they keep coming at you.
I didn't necessarily understand that the Goonies was like a essay about how the upper class is crushing the lower class, but I still understood what was going on. Bad guys,
is every
good guys.
movie just about how the upper class is crushing the lower class?
If I'm watching it, hell yeah.
Man, the proletariat of the movie industry really out there saying a lot of stuff for us. Why do you think Tim Goodman never had a Pokemon despite wanting to be a Pokemon trainer growing up?
Dick in the face. Is there one that instead of licking people in the mouth, which is like that should not?
You can't do that. That's not cool.
That's
He's
not
just
okay.
sitting there on the train, and somebody puts his tongue in his mouth. Is there a penis one?
No, well, Weedle. I mean, I guess, but
Weedle.
So no, but
like
yes.
a dong.
Okay.
well, I think Tim Gooden doesn't have a Pokemon because he doesn't have like a relationship with his father. Like right when his mom dies, he stops making like relationship and progress with relationships. So because of that, he's just so stunted he can't have a Pokemon best friend.
No, but there's a thing in this movie where like he was growing up as a trainer. Like that was clearly his dream at one point.
It was his
and
dream.
then he forgot about it. So like
Well, his
that's where
mom
all of his
died.
knowledge comes from.
He was trying to become a Pokemon trainer, and then like he went.
He wanted to be the best, if I'm not mistaken.
Like no one ever was.
Yeah.
To catch them was his real quest. To train them was his cause. But like, but like his mom died, and like it really traumatized him, and then he kind of just shut himself off. And I think him not having a Pokemon is just like
His mom died or his dad left?
his mom died, and then he left his dad. I guess.
He left his dad.
I don't know how
He
that
told his
happened.
dad, I'm going to go buy cigarettes. Never came back.
And
Before
Dad-
he can.
And Dad was like, "Here's a ticket to see me," and then he's like, "I'm not gonna use it because I'm like 10 years old."
Also, fucking deadbeat dads, that is the like laziest shit. Send somebody
Oh, yeah.
a random ticket.
Yeah.
Go to their house.
Why don't you
Talk
go?
to them.
You're an adult. It's not weird for you to get on the train.
Buy a ticket so you can go to your son.
Also, he just sent a note with the ticket, like, come see me. Like, that's a ransom note. Don't do that. Don't show up to there.
It was written like random magazine letters.
You can't take that ticket.
Also, if my dad was Ryan Reynolds, I would stay away. Like, I need a break.
But you saw those jeans.
How about the character of intern journalist Lucy Stevens? What were they doing with her? What was the point?
Cassie and I
Did
are
she
having
add or take away from the movie?
Cassie and I are having a big battle on a different podcast called Superhero Show. Where we're talking about this kid called Bodhi on a show called Lock and Key.
You know what? I didn't understand that single thing you just said.
Don't you feel good about that?
Is that freeing?
Cassie doesn't like him because it's like a 6-year-old actor that is written with like 3-year-old dialogue.
Oh.
That's what I felt with this actress. Like she is a
Yeah.
full-grown, responsible, out in the world adult, and she's just like, duh, what about pets and handsome guys? Like she has no agency. She does not turn the plot at all. Like this was a waste. And I like this actress. She was from Blockers. She was like one of the daughters in Blockers.
And she was also in *Halt and Catch Fire*, right? Where she played like the later version of the older
She's
daughter,
Supernatural too.
starring my boyfriend Lee Pace.
Yes, Lee
Hey.
Pace was in that show. Greg.
Just you know what? Let's just think about him.
But my God, like they just said, like, hey, there's a boy in this movie, so do whatever he wants you to do.
The first time I watched it, like I didn't like her character because I felt like she was pretty useless. I didn't get what she was trying to do. But the second time I realized she played into like the Pokemon lifestyle. Like she was completely a character. Like she is there to just be like live in this Pokemon universe. Like she is somebody who was like a fan of Pokemon living in the Pokemon universe, and she is just there to bring that.
I 100% agree because like first time I watched it, I was like, this is overplayed. This is too much. Second time, it's like, okay, I see what they're trying to do because when you watch like the original bit, that's how the people were, and then she just played that exact like cartoon character to a T, and I think she did a great job.
I think there's definitely a way they can get away with this. Cast a 15-year-old actor and a 15-year-old actress.
Yeah.
Like, have them
Yeah.
sort of like journey and fall in love.
Yeah.
And, like look 15. That's like everything that they're doing is like 15-year-old shit.
You think she
don't
looks
have
too
them
old?
be 31 but look 26 and have them talk like this.
Isn't she like 18? No.
I mean,
It's hard to
I
tell
don't know.
what age she was supposed to be because it's always kind of hard to tell with actors and actresses. And then, like you said, like half her lines were like, "I'm gotta work at business and it's really hard," and the other half were like, she sounded like a child,
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was hard to tell. And for one,
at one point she said, "I ate all my snack."
yeah, and then she just held up
Dessert,
like
please.
an empty Ziploc bag to the camera. And for one brief second, they played it like she was going to be the ingenue character. She's standing at the top of the stairs when she's first introduced, and from her voyage from the top of the stairs to the bottom, it feels like they're going to play it like she had legs all the way down to the ground.
Right.
And then
Which would have been funny and interesting.
yeah, and then she gets to the bottom, and instead they do the other thing, which I still think is very noir trope, which is I'm cub reporter, blonde girl, Stevens. But ultimately, it felt like the movie tried to give her a big moment when Shitty Jimmy is like, you're going to go on camera and tell everybody. But
Her dreams come true, you guys.
her
What else
dreams
do you
do
want?
come true, but that guy seems like such a dickhead that the entire time you're waiting for him to be like, and then I'm going to buy the mountain that you love to ski on and close it down. It's so hard to believe that guy being anything but awful.
I'm also like, you've never had liquor before. I'm going to make you your first drink. Like, there's a lot of gross stuff going on.
Oh, no.
I will say that the actress's name, I do like her. Her name is Catherine Newton, which is a great actress but a terrible cookie.
Ryan, no.
Cassie. Caitlin.
Yeah, no.
No, I will not stand for this.
Listen, do not besmirch Newtons on my show. I have few rules.
All I love is a bunch of croutons with a little bit of fruit in the middle.
Wow.
And just like,
Yo, we're doubling down on it. Wow.
Man, are you from KFC? Because you're going to double down, aren't you? I could do this all day. I got nowhere else to be.
The worst thing from KFC is the biscuit, which is just fucking dirty, sandy breadcrumbs taped together, and you're supposed to eat that.
Okay. The biscuit is really bad at KFC, you guys.
What?
I think we're trash people, Kaylee.
You can't serve a biscuit that has to be eaten with gravy and then
or
not
covered in honey.
Covered in gravy. Or
yeah, if they're giving you like 5 honey packets for the one biscuit, you can probably guess that it's a fucking awful biscuit.
Yeah, it's
a
too
hockey
dry.
puck.
It's too dry.
I don't mean to go full Don Riddles out here, but it's a fucking hockey puck.
It's too dry a biscuit. Is the movie playing on the TV? Wait, okay. Is the movie playing on the TV of Tim's dad's abandoned apartment really what I think it is?
Do you guys know what I think it is?
What do you think it is?
Greg, do you know?
I don't know, but I'm interested. And so I phrased the question this way.
Okay, so Tim walks in, and this is like first 30 minutes, so it's still like neo-noir part, and his dad's a gumshoe, that looks at dames with gams. There's a movie playing on, and it's like a old school black and white noir movie, not even neo-noir, but in fact it is a neo-noir because that character in the movie doesn't say, it's not James Cagney, it's not like any like classic actor, it's somebody who's about to say, keep the change, you filthy animal.
No way, really?
They took the fucking fake movie from Home Alone, and then they put it in this goddamn movie. They couldn't even go out and make their own fake movie. They couldn't like get the rights for like some Jimmy Cagney movie. They took the fucking Angels with Dirty Faces Home Alone movie and they put it in this movie.
If that's true, that makes me love it more.
Honestly, that's a baller move. Wait, is it your contention that that's a bunk move?
Yes, I think it is because.
Oh, well, then I'm giving a point to Cassie, who said that it's a good move because that's a good move.
No, wait, hold on. I just had a new idea. It's not a bunk move. I think it's wonderful.
Oh, you know what?
Cassie.
Agreeing with Cassie is the best way for Cassie to get an additional point. Which Pokemon would win Best Pokemon Performance if such an award existed?
Jigglypuff. No, it's that one who just yelled when he was giving coffee.
Yeah, it's Totoro or whatever that one is. I don't know the name of it. Totoro.
Oh, the hat one?
The hat one.
He's like, oh, that's his one line.
Lotar?
Honestly, I don't know. He's
careful with how you finish that word.
No, because I'm not sure what his name is.
This is the.
I'm not going to guess anymore.
The racist cactus with a sombrero on it?
Yes.
Okay, so that's he had one moment, but there's only one answer here, you stupid idiots, and it's Mr. Mime who fucking stole the entire movie.
He's right there.
You're right.
My God, what an actor! Like, sets up his own barriers as an actor and a literal character. I could not believe how much he was in the movie, even after seeing the trailer. How much more of him was in this movie.
The trailer for this movie was like 90% just that scene.
Him like trying to start a bike or something.
Yeah.
And then they go and interrogate him. And he can't talk, but he believes in the rules of miming so much that they exist in real life. Guys, Mr. Mime stole the show.
This guy is a legit mime artist.
Yeah, he is.
Is it time to return to mime? Is mime ready to have a moment?
Mime time.
Mime time. It's mime time.
Oh, please don't make that a segment. First of all, bad for podcasting.
Okay. And to close, how is Ash Ketchum or Tim Goodman or anyone from this universe different than dogfighter extraordinaire Michael Vick? Is it at all sad and or horrifying that this movie's major analogy would be dogfighting?
Do you know how this movie could have saved that is not having the first scene, which was unnecessary storytelling wise, and then also taught me that like they don't want to be captured, and like that scene when they go for what's the Mario Brothers character?
Cubone.
That sort of like showed me into this world where like, oh, we can't fight them against each other anymore, except for Underground, where we like make them our slaves and make them do shit. And when then like we don't want them to do our shit anymore, we just fill them full of drugs to make them even better at it. Is this not cockfighting or dogfighting?
No, okay. The difference is when they care about their Pokemon, like even that like dirty, like grimy, like club owner with his Charizard. Like he cared when his Charizard was in that battle, and he still wanted to protect him. He wanted him to kick ass, but he still
also
did that guy have a tattoo where it was the Charizard's body
his-
that like made it look like
And then he was the-
Yeah.
Very good. Also with Cubone, he didn't want to be caught, and because he didn't want to be caught, he didn't get caught. So these Pokemons willingly chose to be accepted.
That's real victim
as
blaming.
as
That's
a
real. I'm not
Pokemon.
comfortable with that.
So wait, is Tim Goodman supposed to spend some time in that field hanging out with Cubone?
Yeah, gaining
that's
the
why
trust.
he started to try to talk
Romancing
to
the
him.
bone.
That's when he started to try to talk to him, but then he hit it. He was like, "You wear the skull of your dead mom. That's pretty crazy. Like that's not how you make a connection. You got to make a connection first, and then you can catch him."
And that's absolutely true about Cubone, right?
It
Wears
is on its
the
card.
skull of its.
Skull
of
of
its
its
Does Ash Ketchum have mini balls, mini monsters, or is he just like, I've got this one and it's Pikachu?
Many, like hundreds,
Oh,
right?
many balls, many
And
monsters.
he has like a tight relationship with all of these.
Most
you
of
don't
the
think
Pikachu.
some of the 100 are feeling like slaves?
No, I gotta say, as someone who has played much Pokemon Go, there are some Pokemon that I have that, like, honestly, if the file got deleted or I lost the little picture, I would be, like, very upset. And there's other ones that mean nothing to me. They're just garbage Pokemon. I just feed them back to the establishment, and they give me, like, a candy with their picture on it. And that's all I want. I just put them in the big meat grinder and just grind them up into sweet Poke candy.
Okay, but then there's somebody who will appreciate them
No.
after you put them back in the
They
system.
get ground up into nothing. They're candy. They're candy for future Pokemon to eat.
Is Ash Ketchum losing sleep at night, knowing like what he's doing to these lives?
No, all that matters to him is being the best.
Yeah,
Ash Ketchum is 10 years old. He doesn't really know. This is what
Also,
he's been taught.
he never sleeps. He's always trying to catch him. He's got to catch them all, Ryan. You should know this.
He never sleeps. He's a child soldier. This is all. I think we can all agree this is horrifying.
And who does he report to? Does he have a boss?
Professor Oak.
Professor Oak.
Yes.
Okay.
That's like his mentor.
Yeah.
Unstable character, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The guy who employs a 10-year-old slave driver is an unstable character. This is shocking to me. Is he a tree?
No.
No.
Okay.
He's just a human with gray hair.
You know what? To me, he's Professor Joke. 'Cause he's a fucking joke. Thank you, Drop Pad, for giving me a point. When we come back, I'm going to tabulate these points, and we're going to talk about how far we think Detective Pikachu is going to go in this year's competition. And we are back, and I have tabulated the scores. Caitlin,
Yes.
17 points.
Strong.
Thank you for coming out.
Does that set a record?
That does not set a record. Well, I think it's a personal record, a PR for Caitlin.
I think you're right. I
Yeah.
think last time I got like 9 points. So.
Congratulations, Caitlin. Cassie,
Yeah.
23 points.
Okay. Not bad, not bad. I don't like that there's still one person.
But there is still one person left. Is Ryan. 25 points. It was
Son of
very
a-
close.
Wow.
I was actually shocked. I was sure that you had won, but what can I say, Ryan? You are my best friend, so maybe I give you a couple extra points for that.
Drop Pad was in the bag for Cassie. Like,
Yeah.
I thought that I was fucked.
Yeah, I definitely thought you had it. Either I'm tabulating the scores wrong, or I unconsciously give you points without even
And
meaning to.
Mike, 0 points. And
Well,
that's
yeah.
all I want to hear.
0 points. Good one, Mike. You really failed. Now, guys, we should have mentioned this at the top, but Detective Pikachu cannot win the 2019. And not just because it was a terrible movie, but because it was not eligible. It was not one of the Dropbox top probably 100 movies.
Can we talk about that, though, real quick? Like, let's say 2.5 stars is like an average movie.
Yeah.
Like, where do you guys actually think this movie was, all Pokemon bias aside? Like, is this even average? Is it good?
I think it was good.
I
I loved it.
personally, I would say only slightly below average, but the average movie's really bad. So that's,
Yeah.
that's still pretty bad.
We always have to remember that average is awful. Like,
Yeah.
it's so stupid.
Yeah, they seriously they release like probably 20 good movies a year. So this is part of all of the terrible movies, and it's only slightly worse than most of them.
Caitlin, when you say that you love it,
Yes.
like, there's there's probably a lot of Marvel movies that I should like less.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that's part of it? Like,
I mean, that's definitely plays a part into it. If I had never watched Pokemon like you, then I wouldn't have the attachment that I do to have this property or the movie itself. But
whereas I'm like Ant-Man and the Wasp, top 5 movies of all time. So
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying.
I think if you had like a basic knowledge of Pokemon, though, you would enjoy it. I mean, My mom liked it too, but then again, she liked Boss Baby. So there's like,
well, she had such an attachment to the Boss Baby franchise before that.
Yeah.
So she collected all the cards and shit.
Yeah, so I think it would be like out of 5 stars, I'd give it like a 3.5.
A 3.5.
That's pretty strong.
But see, that's 70%, right? So
yeah.
I mean, that's
it's like an average.
I feel like it's average.
It's a C minus.
I would say, like, I didn't hate this movie. I think that's ultimately what my problem was, is that I wish I hated it more. But like, this was kind of a fun movie that had every like 10 minutes something cool to watch, and it was the 9 screenwriters. You know, like it was that just fucking anchored it.
If they had committed to the feel of the first 20 minutes of the movie, I still think it would have had a lot of weaknesses, but it just would have been more fun. But at some point, this movie absolutely turns off the fun.
I saw an interview with Ryan Reynolds where he was like, yeah, I got a pass at it. I rewrote the script. We all got to. And like, I think he was trying to brag, but like, no, dude, like that's not how art is supposed to work, you know?
And I don't think Ryan Reynolds is the guy you go to like to punch up a script.
Right.
You know, I'll never really understand that guy. Do you think we're done with him? Do you think we're going to have a little break here? A little breaksy?
I think so. I do want to know what Disney's going to do with Rated R Deadpool.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Maybe just keep delaying it.
Or Van Wilder 4. It might be great.
Oh, man.
You know what? Or another Green Lantern movie.
The other thing, too, is that Leonardo DiCaprio is aging out, being Martin Scorsese's actor. What if it's Ryan Reynolds? What if we just get Reynolds Scorsese movies from here on out?
The Reynolds-assance. Well, we've gone a little long, so we're just going to cut right to the chase. Ryan, this movie is not going to go far. We don't like it anymore. We're never going to talk about it ever again.
If it had the opportunity to go far, it still would not.
Yeah, right. There's nothing. It could not beat any other movie,
right,
that we have in that. I would say any of the top 32 movies.
Yeah, I would say that.
Right, we would have just blind picked whatever movie even if we hadn't seen it. Even if it was like Atlantics, a movie which none of us will ever see.
Oh, I love that movie more
even
than
though we all
Detective
want
Pikachu,
to. Yeah. Ryan, tell the folks at home about websites.
Websites. I think there's only 3.
Yeah.
The internet has cut back. One of them you should know about is yourpopfilter.com, where that's our home base where you can get all of our podcasts. If you somehow don't subscribe to like podcatchers, and if you don't like doing podcasts in the real way, go to our website. And we also have articles from 2011. Yeah. So if you want to hear about our thoughts from there, yourpopfilter.com/Amazon. That's the one that you should do. Amazon's enemy is my enemy. Make that your new bookmark. And every time you shop on Amazon, go through that one. And then we get a couple of pennies every time you do that. Or patreon.com/yourpopfilter. That's the best way to like actually hook us up. Pick a tier. $5 would be awesome. If you just do $5, then we can keep doing this show. And then we can keep giving you content that you didn't even know you wanted, but you totally do.
At this point, you may still not know that you wanted this content. You may never discover that this is actually something you totally wanted.
I feel like if you made it to this point in the show and you're still like, do I want this? Do I like this? Then that's weird.
This is when you're like in the car and you're like, oh, I'm not going to reach out and hit the like next thing.
This is when your phone fell in between the seat and the middle console.
Well, obviously you love podcasts because you loved this podcast, as we've just established. But you can also listen to Super Hero.
Soup.
Okay.
We review soup based on superheroes.
What is it again?
Cassie, you want to take this one?
This is Superhero Show.
Superhero Show. Oh, yeah, because you're on the show now.
I'm on the show.
Very cool. And then, of course, there's the OCD, which we have all been on, but we don't like to think about.
I didn't even like being on.
No.
You guys couldn't even fake it for an hour.
You know what? I refuse. It is the reason I have seen one episode of the OCD, though.
There you go.
And I think in the episode of the OCD that I saw, well, I didn't, and let me tell you why. It was an episode where, like, the like kind of the dorkier of the two, his aunt moves in, and there's a whole like is visiting, and there's a whole like weird energy between them. Not for me.
Yeah.
This is so fucking frustrating to hear you talk about it. Seth, who is in some ways the dorkier but not necessarily, has his hot fucking aunt move in, and they're gonna fuck, guys, and you should watch the show and listen to the podcast.
And then you guys are from another podcast.
Yes.
Describe it in 5 seconds.
We're from Unnatural 20s, where we leave the fate of each episode up to the rolls of a D20. So it's me, Cassie, and then our friend McKenna, a.k.a. Books. And we talk about nerd shit and stuff, but you never know what we're going to talk about because we have to roll a dice to find out what it is.
Do you guys use the M word on the show anymore, or is she just Books?
It's mainly Books, yeah. It's just easier to hit. It's funner to hit.
And it's because every time you call her McKenna, like she like goes back to punch you.
If
this
it's
is my
McKenna,
identity.
it's McKenna, a.k.a. Books.
It's such a great nickname. Did she give herself that nickname, or did you guys give her that nickname?
I think Cassie did.
Yeah.
When we were living together.
Okay.
Before the podcast.
Because you can't give yourself
You
that
do that,
nickname.
dude. Yeah.
No.
It's the origin
Call
story.
me Books.
Because
at
you
my
guys are very nice, so I
many
thought
books.
maybe you just went along with it. You're like, all right, she wants to be called Books. That's cool.
But related to that, call me McKenna. That's my new nickname.
That's
from
my
now
new
on.
name.
So
Okay,
please call me
yeah.
that.
We'll respect that.
And what other commercial stuff do we have, Ryan?
Oh, yeah, social media.
Oh, yeah, at Your Pop Filter on Twitter, at Pensive Gorilla, that's just me, on Twitter. Ladies, do you have a Twitter you want to plug?
At Unnatural 20s. Check us out.
That's it. Check that one out.
Just do it. And then on Instagram, we're at Your Pop Filter. What's your dog again?
Murdoch the pup.
Yeah, honestly.
102 followers.
Yeah.
Gotta get there.
But I think that there's a rule on Instagram where you can't follow the dog unless you follow us first. So, like, don't just
okay.
go to the dog pictures.
Your pup filter.
Your pup filter.
That's nice. Oh, man. You know, I have to say, I do mean this. People shouldn't have an Instagram for themselves. They should just have an Instagram for their pets.
100%.
That's really all I want to see. I was tabulating today how many pets of people I've never met I love. Like so many people I follow on Instagram and Twitter, I've never even met them. And I know about their cat and their dog. I'm like, oh, Pierogi's hiding again. That's
So pierogi.
That's so classic. Look at Luna. Look how sad she looks. Luna looks sad most of the time.
Do you bring it up at dinner with your wife? She's like,
Yeah.
you will never believe what
For
Luna
sure,
did
dude.
today.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man, did you? Well, Murdoch is a big one. See the latest thing Murdoch did.
That's a big honor. Wow.
Yeah, dude. You're part of the evening conversation. And then what else, Ryan?
I like you guys, Cassie and Caitlin. Have you seen the Midsommar? The Midsommar?
Have
Oh,
not.
God,
Nope,
yeah.
have not
Are
seen
you-
that.
You're not. You're just gonna simply not watch it ever. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, don't watch it.
Oh, Greg, I
Don't
will not.
Yeah, don't watch the movie. Listen to the podcast that we're going to do about it next week.
No, that might be spooky too.
Yeah.
What if the podcast is too scary for you guys? Do you guys? Think
Oh, he's mocking us. I didn't get that at first. He's mocking us.
Do you guys think a movie could be so scary that it's bad? What if a movie was so scary and freaked out? Does that then make it a bad movie?
No, it just makes a bad time for me mentally.
I
but it's
love a
probably
bad
good.
time.
I know.
The whole point of watching these movies is just be like, fuck, this is fucking awful. And then come on the show and be like, wasn't that great?
Yeah.
This is why you like the dogs burning and stuff like that.
Yes. Which is what Caitlin called Chernobyl, a show that most people watch. I don't just watch videos of dogs
I
burning.
think the dogs melted more than they burned. I thought it was
If we gotta
definitely
get into it.
more of a melt.
But then they got put in a truck and dumped out, and that's where we got the term dog pile.
They were fine. So that's what we're doing next week, everybody. We're doing Midsommar, and I don't want to watch it, but I'm seeing how far into it I can make it. It's unpleasant in every single way. I don't think any of that makes it bad, but it's unpleasant in every single way.
You probably wish it was less good. Like
Yeah.
if it was bad, then it'd be so much more easier to get through.
I wish it were less effective at it is hitting its target as well as any movie that we're going to talk about in 2019. And it's visionary, it's innovative, and it is all to be as unpleasant as possible. And I'm excited to talk about it. And I'm watching it in the middle of the day, but you can't escape this movie by watching it in the middle of the day. I turned it off because it was getting too intense, and I went for a walk, and it was sunny outside, and I was scared of that.
Oh.
I was scared of how nice it was outside, and it's been really nice lately. So you can imagine how terrified I am most of the time. At night, when I'm in bed, I'm like, now I'm safe.
Mom texts you and she's like, nice day out today. And you're like, yeah, I know. Shut the fuck up.
Lay off, Mom! God damn it, we're going to throw you off the cliff. That's a Midsommar joke. All right, thank you for listening. I hope you tune in next time, but until then, do me a favor. Keep watching them movies.